50 Cent recently spoke out again, revealing shocking information that never made it into his Netflix documentary. He explained that there was so much material that he and his team had to leave out some of the biggest revelations. Among the stories cut from the documentary was a claim that Diddy allegedly has a secret child with a woman who had previously been involved with Tupac Shakur. This story alone could have caused a major stir, but because of time constraints, it didn't appear in the 4 episodes of the documentary. Instead of keeping this footage hidden, 50 Cent has hinted that he might release it directly on YouTube, giving fans access to content that was too explosive to include in the original series. Since the release of the documentary, more people have come forward, sharing new information and raising questions about why 50 Cent seems so focused on exposing Diddy. Comedian TK Kirkland has offered a perspective that many may have missed. According to him, 50 Cent's motivation goes beyond simple rivalry or attention-seeking. TK points out that Diddy allegedly got involved with the mother of 50 Cent's child, which changed everything in the dynamic between the two men. TK explained that he has always respected boundaries when it comes to relationships, and that crossing those boundaries is a clear sign of disrespect. In his experience, knowingly dating a friend's former partner is something that should never happen, and it's something that Diddy allegedly did, despite having countless options available to him. TK believes that Diddy's decision to pursue 50 Cent's baby mother was deliberate. It was not an accident, but a choice meant to provoke and escalate the ongoing tension between them. TK highlighted that with Diddy's fame and influence, he could have been with anyone in the world, yet he specifically chose to get involved in a situation that would fuel further conflict. This point is key because it frames Diddy's actions as intentional rather than coincidental, showing a level of calculation in the long-standing rivalry. The controversy does not stop with just these personal relationships. It extends to questions about Diddy's overall behavior and reputation, as well as the content that was left out of the documentary. The documentary itself, while gaining praise for shedding light on some of Diddy's life, has been criticized for omitting significant details. One major complaint comes from Gan Deal, who claimed that parts of the documentary were not original and that 50 Cent used ideas without giving proper credit. He argued that the documentary had to be downsized for time, but he didn't believe that was the real reason so much content was cut. According to him, the producers knew about his ideas, and the fact that they were used without acknowledgement was unfair. This dispute sheds light on the behind-the-scenes complexity of the documentary and raises questions about how much of the story presented was truly 50 Cent's own work versus borrowed material. Gene, another insider, weighed in on the situation and offered his thoughts on 50 Cent's potential release of the unreleased footage online. He believes that if 50 Cent does release this content on YouTube, Diddy won't be able to stop it. According to Gene, if Diddy had the power to halt the documentary or any of its future releases, it would have already happened. This perspective highlights how Diddy's influence has limits, especially when it comes to controlling content that is already in the public eye or about to be released through independent platforms. One recurring theme in the discussion is Diddy's alleged obsession with Tupac Shakur. Multiple sources, including insiders and commentators, have noted that Diddy's admiration, or possibly jealousy, of Tupac influenced many of his decisions. From pursuing women who were previously linked to Tupac to emulating parts of Tupac's speeches, Diddy's behavior suggests a complicated relationship with the late rapper's legacy. Jaguar Wright, for example, pointed out that Diddy may have been motivated by a combination of respect, competition, and personal fascination with Tupac. This dynamic appears to have shaped both his personal and professional life in ways that are only now coming to light. Another important omission in the documentary was the story of Kim Porter, Diddy's longtime partner and the mother of his children. Despite her significant role in his life, Kim was barely mentioned. Her experiences and knowledge of Diddy's personal and professional dealings were largely left out. Kim Porter passed away in 2018 at the age of 47, and the official cause was pneumonia, but her death left lingering questions, with some speculating about Diddy's possible involvement or at least his connection to circumstances surrounding her passing. Kim's story was considered too sensitive or controversial to include, yet it holds crucial insight into Diddy's private life. Mark Curry, a former Bad Boy artist, added further context by sharing disturbing accounts of Diddy's controlling behavior toward Kim Porter. He claimed that Diddy monitored Kim's private conversations and would react aggressively when he discovered things he did not approve of. In one instance, Diddy allegedly became angry after hearing a phone call between Kim and music executive Shakir Stewart, leading to a confrontation at a party. Such stories reveal a pattern of controlling behavior and aggression that raises questions about Diddy's character as well as the environment around him. The documentary also failed to fully explore Diddy's notorious parties, which were rumored to be packed with powerful figures from various industries. Celebrities, athletes, and influential insiders reportedly attended regularly, yet the documentary did not reveal major names or provide detailed accounts of these events. The omission of this information seems suspicious, especially given the high-profile connections Diddy maintained over the years. Observers have noted that many of his celebrity friends remained silent or dismissed allegations publicly, raising questions about complicity and protection within the entertainment industry. Stevie J, Mary J. Blige, Jennifer Lopez, Jay-Z, Rick Ross, and Usher have all been named in discussions about these parties, suggesting a network of influential figures who may have been involved or at least aware of what was happening. The lack of accountability from these individuals adds another layer of controversy as it points to a culture of silence around alleged misconduct. Jaguar Wright further emphasized that the story of Diddy's behavior cannot be fully understood without examining his early life. She suggested that Diddy's childhood experiences, including the environment he grew up in and the behavior he witnessed, played a significant role in shaping his later actions. According to Jaguar, Diddy grew up in a household where strangers frequently came and went, and where his mother was often preoccupied with her own life. This kind of environment exposed him to adult situations at an early age, potentially impacting his perception of relationships, boundaries, and power. She argues that these early experiences likely influenced the way he navigated fame, relationships, and authority later in life. Understanding this background is essential to understanding some of the decisions Diddy made as an adult, both personally and professionally. Additionally, Jaguar discussed Diddy's reaction to learning about his father's reputation as a hustler. She noted that Diddy seemed proud upon discovering this, viewing it as an affirmation of status and influence. This reaction may reveal the values he internalized from an early age and how he sought to emulate certain images of power, fear, and respect. Many rap personas, including Diddy's, were inspired by movie characters who embodied these traits, suggesting a cultural as well as personal motivation behind certain behaviors. The documentary also touched lightly on Diddy's relationship with his children, but the coverage was minimal compared to the concerns raised by insiders like Jaguar. Allegations suggest that his children may have been exposed to situations they should not have witnessed. Questions about his parenting arise from reports that adults around him were aware of inappropriate circumstances, yet remained silent. This aspect of his life paints a complicated and troubling picture, where the line between protection and exposure is blurred. Several anecdotes reveal the extremity of Diddy's behavior. One example involves physical altercations with women and confrontations with others around him, highlighting a pattern of aggression and intimidation. Mark Curry recounted an incident where a woman allegedly fell and broke her nose, but insiders claim the truth was more violent, implying Diddy's direct involvement. These stories, coupled with the secrecy surrounding Diddy's parties and personal life, contribute to a narrative that has been carefully curated but is incomplete. The question of unreleased footage from 50 Cent's documentary is central to understanding what might come next. Next, if 50 Cent releases this material on YouTube, fans may finally see the stories that were too explosive or controversial for Netflix. This could include revelations about Diddy's relationships, his influence on the music industry, interactions with high-profile celebrities, and possibly accounts of behavior that crosses moral and legal boundaries. The potential release has generated significant anticipation and speculation, with many wondering what the next wave of information could reveal. Gene and other insiders stress that 50 Cent has the ability to release this footage freely. Diddy may no longer have the power to control or block the content, which could result in some of the most explosive stories about his life being made public. These stories may further explain his long-standing rivalries, personal decisions, and the controversies surrounding his relationships and actions. Some of the more specific allegations involve intimate relationships with women connected to other prominent figures. Diddy's involvement with women who were previously linked to Tupac or other influential men suggests a pattern that may have been strategic rather than coincidental. Commentators like T.K. Kirkland have highlighted the ethical concerns around these actions, emphasizing that respect for boundaries is a fundamental part of human relationships, and crossing those lines can create lasting tension and conflict. The controversy also includes alleged monitoring and manipulation of private communications, adding another layer to the narrative. Insiders have described situations in which Diddy allegedly used information obtained from wiretaps or surveillance to assert control or intimidate others. This behavior has been cited as evidence of a broader pattern of manipulation and influence, affecting not only romantic relationships but also professional interactions and social dynamics. Kim Porter's story remains one of the most compelling omissions. Her first-hand accounts, as shared by insiders, reveal a woman who was deeply involved in Diddy's life, yet potentially constrained or silenced by the circumstances she faced. Reports suggest she may have planned to release a tell-all book detailing her experiences, which could have exposed Diddy's actions more fully. The potential release of such material adds to the anticipation surrounding unreleased footage and raises questions about what truths may finally come to light. The documentary's treatment of Diddy's notorious parties also invites scrutiny. For decades, these events were rumored to include celebrities, athletes, and influential figures, yet very little information was made public. Some insiders argue that this lack of transparency points to deliberate suppression of details that could implicate high-profile individuals or reveal behavior considered socially or legally unacceptable. The combination of secrecy, selective storytelling, and powerful connections complicates the public's understanding of Diddy's actions and influence. Beyond the parties and relationships, discussions about Diddy's upbringing provide context for his later behavior. Growing up in an environment where adults engaged in questionable conduct, including drug use, exploitation, and sexual encounters, may have shaped his understanding of power, loyalty, and influence. Jaguar Wright suggested that these early experiences created a framework in which Diddy learned to navigate social hierarchies, assert control, and manipulate situations to his advantage. Further complicating the picture is Diddy's relationship with his children and family. Insiders suggest that he exposed his children to inappropriate situations, raising concerns about his parenting and the impact on their development. Stories of physical aggression, manipulation, and control suggest a complex family dynamic where authority, fame, and personal ambition intersect, often at the expense of safety and boundaries. In terms of accountability, there is a notable silence from many involved parties. Celebrities allegedly connected to Diddy's parties and private life have often denied or dismissed allegations. However, insiders argue that silence does not equate to innocence and that some may have been complicit in maintaining secrecy. This culture of silence underscores the challenges in uncovering the full truth and highlights the potential significance of any unreleased content 50 Cent may share. The potential release of this footage is particularly significant given the various controversies surrounding Diddy's personal and professional life. Reports of manipulation, aggression, and boundary-crossing behavior raise ethical and legal questions. The public may gain new insight into how Diddy's upbringing, relationships, and ambitions shaped his decisions, both positive and negative. As speculation grows, the focus remains on what 50 Cent might reveal, whether it involves personal relationships, professional rivalries, or accounts of parties and events previously hidden from the public. The material could significantly alter the public's perception of Diddy. Insiders suggest that even those close to him may be surprised by the details contained in the unreleased footage. Another area of interest is the pattern of Diddy's behavior toward women connected to prominent figures. Insiders, including T.K. Kirkland, have noted that crossing boundaries with other men's partners reflects intentional decisions rather than coincidental actions. These behaviors may have contributed to long-standing rivalries and conflicts, highlighting a strategic aspect to Diddy's personal choices. The documentary, while comprehensive in some areas, clearly left out stories that could be explosive. From Kim Porter's experiences to allegations of surveillance, manipulation, and boundary crossing, the omitted content paints a more complex and troubling picture of Diddy's life. The potential release of this material on YouTube raises the possibility that the public may soon gain a more complete understanding of events and relationships previously kept private. Early childhood experiences also appear to have shaped Diddy's later decisions. Growing up in a household exposed to adult behavior, drugs, and complex social interactions may have influenced how he perceives power, loyalty, and respect. Insiders argue that this context is critical for understanding some of the choices he made as an adult, particularly regarding relationships, parties, and interactions with other influential figures. The combination of personal, professional, and early life experiences creates a multi-layered narrative that the documentary could not fully capture. This is one reason why 50 Cent's potential release of additional footage is generating so much attention. The unreleased content could provide insight into the motivations, decisions, and patterns of behavior that defined Diddy's life over the years. The issue of accountability remains central. Many individuals connected to Diddy's private life have either denied allegations or remained silent. Yet insiders suggest that silence may indicate awareness of events rather than innocence. If the unreleased footage comes to light, it may challenge public perceptions and raise difficult questions about complicity, ethics, and responsibility. The documentary also hinted at Diddy's fascination with Tupac, highlighting a long-standing dynamic that influenced his actions. Insiders suggest that Diddy may have sought to emulate, compete with, or even disrupt Tupac's legacy through his personal relationships and decisions. This dynamic adds another layer to understanding Diddy's behavior, suggesting motivations that go beyond simple rivalry or fame. Kim Porter's story, along with other omitted accounts, reveals the human cost of Diddy's lifestyle and decisions. From intimate relationships to control over communications and personal interactions, these stories underscore the complexity of his life and the challenges faced by those close to him. The documentary's omissions leave questions unanswered, fueling anticipation for the potential release of additional footage. In terms of professional behavior, insiders also note that Diddy's influence extended to manipulating events and controlling perceptions. Allegations of surveillance, physical aggression, and strategic decision-making suggest a figure highly aware of his power and willing to use it to achieve desired outcomes. The documentary only scratches the surface, leaving much to be revealed through unreleased content. The environment Diddy grew up in played a significant role in shaping his understanding of social dynamics. Exposure to adult behavior, drug use, and complex relationships at a young age may have influenced how he perceives power, loyalty, and respect.